really have a great collection of the smartest innovators in the world. For example, Sam Bankman-Fried is a speaker is a catalyst this year, and he is, a 29-year-old who's earned a cool $40 billion, and he intends to give it all away. So you've got a lot of these people who have ideas that will change the world, most likely, and for good. So I'm pretty excited to watch the rest of the Catalyst Conference.
Part of that has to do with the Fed. Part of it, the stronger dollar that we have seen today and really over the course of the month, which is the best in more than a year for the dollar. Of course, digital gold is moving to the downside as well today. Bitcoin below $35,000. That is dragging on some crypto-related stocks in pre-market trading. You have Riot Blockchain and Coinbase each down more than 3%.
I make it very simple because obviously, in any way you look at it, getting vaccinated.
Where is this sustainable?
Well, you look at, Sam Bankman-Fried, who runs FTX, who's 30 years old, who just raised $900 million for his company at $18 billion valuation from some of the best investors in the world, right? He's a legend in this space, and he's the backer of Solana. And so that's his ecosystem. So people are betting on Sam. As more people come in, they get excited, right? Institutions are coming in. And it hit a critical point of acceleration where now it's a thing. What's a blockchain? A blockchain is a database that we all share. Solana is exciting because it's easier to build on because it's really fast, right? It's faster than Ethereum. It's faster because it's not nearly as decentralized. It's not nearly as secure and safe in some ways, right? There's only, a couple dozen validators of the Solana blockchain, where there's thousands on the Ethereum blockchain. Right now, consumers don't seem to care, right? It's decentralized enough. And regulators don't seem to care. There is a fair question. Will in time regulators say we're not going to let this business infrastructure for our country or the world be built on blockchains that aren't decentralized? Like, that's up for grabs. That's really in the weeds. Right now, that's not what the market's focused on. The market's focused on fast is better, and can they get people to build on it, and is there excitement around it? And so, Luna is another blockchain that I have big investments in, full disclosure.
Okay.
Juan from Korea, he's like the Sam Bankman-Fried. He's pulling all kinds of products and projects into his ecosystem.
Mike, unfortunately, I have to be sort of the boring one that brings us back to macro. I am wondering your call on rates. Are you still short? You betting rates to climb from here?
I am short rates. Listen, they've had a decent little move recently. Rates higher, prices lower. I just think it's impossible to own as much crypto as I do, or other assets, equities, and not want to have a big rate short.
Both are businesses, said the co-CEO of Alameda. Alameda Research was launched by crypto billionaire Sam Bankman, which, what a name to be a billionaire. Bankman, are you kidding me? Okay, who announced October 12th he was taking a step back to make more room for co-CEOs Ellison and Sam. Currently, Alameda trades over $5 billion a day across thousands of products, including cryptocurrencies, altcoins, and their derivatives, okay? Yeah. This is a huge, huge deal, guys. Like, needless to say, when you have somebody that's doing $5 billion a day in trades, and they're giving you the vote of confidence to invest $75 million into you and work with you on all these future projects, this definitely shows there's some real big money that is big believers of Voyager Digital, okay? I'm talking big money. When you're doing deals with Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks, when you're doing deals with a firm like this that's doing $5 billion a day in trades, yeah, big money's starting to come behind you in a massive way. And here's the thing, this is just a start, right? Like, if these guys are starting to do deals with them, imagine how many are coming down the pipe over the coming months and coming years, okay? Now, Dallas Mavericks announced 5-year partnership with cryptocurrency brokerage Voyager Digital. This is important. 5-year partnership. So it's not like Cuban's interested in this deal in terms of just being some short-term thing, and that's Cuban and that's Steve there. So Steve's the CEO of Voyager Digital. That's basically a joint press conference they had there. So this I'm getting almost nothing compared to what I could be getting over in Voyager. Now, this gets me to my next point, because I don't just own Voyager stock. I'm not just a ride or die with Voyager stock. I own something else in relation to Voyager that I think has big long-term potential as well, and I want to explain that. I own what's called VGX. So you know me. Will
in the space, and by the way, and not an angry guy. FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried, not arrogant like the rest of the guys that I've had to interview about this.
Brady as part of its endorsers. And he said, if we can bring up this tweet thread for you, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's a $20 billion 30-year-old, he said basically, this is Vitalik. I'll get back to this in just a bit. But if you can bring up the SBF and what Fried said there, he says, look, the algorithms, and there are algorithms that trade cryptocurrency, and there are individuals that trade cryptocurrency. If you look at what the algorithms are doing, he says, if you look at the data and decide that Bitcoin, BTC as it's called, should be 80% correlated to the S&P 500 with a beta of 4. So what that means, Neil, that if the S&P 500 moves 1%, Bitcoin moves 4% in a highly leveraged trade like cryptocurrency, because I would say 80%.
Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO and co-founder of FTX. Sam, great to see you. To evade those, especially for your average Russian citizen using an exchange. Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of FTX, told me that this week. He said global exchanges work really closely with law enforcement to shut down illicit or sanctioned accounts. He said it's also pretty easy to track.
Criminals will choose to use Bitcoin because it's sort of like what you're told you're supposed to use to launder funds, and then they'll get caught. And sort of I think maybe in retrospect sometimes regret having done it. Is what I must imagine is happening, because it is actually pretty traceable.
Chainalysis this morning told me that they're really not seeing any unusual transaction volume out of Russia.
Yeah, Kate, thank you so much. So many different faucets and ways of exploring.
Let's pop on over here.
Well, crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried wants to give his fortune away. The CEO and co-founder of cryptocurrency exchange FTX says he wants to spread his more than $20 billion in wealth with those who need it. For more, Bloomberg's Zeke Vox is joining us. He wrote today's Big Take. You can find it at NI Big Take Go on the Bloomberg terminal as well as online. So, Zeke, he is an effective altruist. Can you explain what that means and how it informs what he is doing with FTX and with the money he's earned from it?
Well, it's pretty wild. I mean, there's a lot of rich people. There's a lot of rich people who want to give their money away. But the weird thing about Sam is that when he met with someone from the effective altruism movement and decided to pursue something that this guy called earning to give. And that's the idea that if you're really committed to changing the world, to doing the best for the world, you should, instead of actually going to work in philanthropy or become like a doctor and treat people in poor countries, you should be a banker and make as much money as you can and then give it to charities so that you can multiply your impact. So about 10 years ago, he said, okay, that sounds about right. I mean, it's kind of a controversial idea, but he wanted to pursue it. And now here we are, and he's got $20 billion fortune, and he is saying that he's, still on track to give it away.
There are really fascinating criticisms of effective altruism. You include them in your story, and we don't need to go on at length talking about that now. What I find the most fascinating is that he is able to really make decisions and then move on, right? He says, I don't want to constantly reevaluate, the turns that I've taken. It's not just with effective altruism. He seems to do it with a number of choices throughout your article.
Yeah, I mean, this guy really seems to think in terms of expected value. He's like, if I do X, what are the chances that it will make X amount of money? And if that's like the best thing by that metric, then I'm going to do it. And that's why he got into crypto. He wasn't really a crypto guy. He's not one of these like Bitcoin fixes everything kind of people. He was a trader and he saw an amazing arbitrage and thought, hey, I could make huge money here. I'm going to start trading crypto.
Zeke, is he for real?
Yeah, it's a great question. Everyone I talk to is like, this is the same person that I've known since he was a kid. He's always been really committed to this because right now he hasn't really given that much away yet at least for someone who has $20 billion. He's spent more on advertising his cryptocurrency exchange, hiring celebrities to endorse it, naming the Miami Heat arena after it. He's given away about $100 million so far. But he says this year he's going to get that up to at least a few hundred million, maybe as much as $1 billion. And that it would be, as one of his friends told me, it would be a really weird way to ruin your reputation to say that you're going to give all your money away very publicly and then not to do it. So, but even Sam said the only way to know for sure is to watch and see his actions.
Zeke, it's a great story. Really loved reading it. Thanks so much for joining us. Zeke Fox there from Bloomberg News. You can read all about crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried and the latest big take and catch him live on Bloomberg Crypto tomorrow as well. Kaylee and I have this program. It happens every week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. You should definitely be tuning in or watching it online. Sam Bankman-Fried joins us as our guest tomorrow, again, 1 p.m. New York time. Definitely don't miss it. I like it a lot. All right, coming up next week, co-founder and CEO of FTX will join us, Sam Bankman-Fried. Very excited to catch up with SBF for a
Bankman-Fried, also IEX co-founder and CEO Brad Katsuyama. It's great to see both of you. Sam, how did this deal come together? What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, I mean, really excited to work with Brad and the IEX team here.
Just reading this on Bloomberg, an insane story about Sam, okay? He's the founder of FTX. 5 years ago, Bankman-Fried, that's Sam, okay? He was working for a charitable organization that promoted the then fringe idea of effective altruism, using scientific reasoning to figure out how to do the most good for the most people. Then he spotted a seemingly too good to be true pricing mistake in Bitcoin and decided for him this would be the right path to making tons of money and give it away. Now Bankman-Fried is one of the richest people in the world with a fortune of more than 20
to the same driver.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is something I'm really excited to talk about with Sam Bankman-Fried. He joins us tomorrow on Bloomberg Crypto. Of course, that's our show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. New York time, 6 p.m. in London. We will speak with the 30-year-old billionaire, FTX CEO and founder.
Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, also had an interesting Twitter thread on what a decentralized Twitter might look like, how they could monetize that, sort of this Web3 play. Kara, though, I wonder who might actually benefit from owning Twitter. Certainly Elon Musk has had a lot of benefit from his tweets, considering that his advertising budget for Tesla has been nothing. But is there another company that could really harness the influence of Twitter to its advantage, whether that be in big tech or media or something that we are not thinking of? I'm thinking back to Oracle and TikTok. No one saw that coming.
Maybe some of these digital finance companies. I think Sam Bankman-Fried, for example, I mean, it could be very valuable to a lot of people who have kind of crazy money, where the stock is out of whack with where it is. If you're a big company, like if you're Apple, no way are you touching this thing. Like, why would you? And plus, you have to deal with Elon and Trump. No, thank you. Mark Benioff, I tweeted him. He just sent me a smiley emoji. That's all I got back from him. I think it's expensive and a big bet on something that still hasn't proven itself as a business. Money is another thing. I think they like money more than going on about free speech.
tomorrow we have a big deal. We're going to speak with the FTX CEO and billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried.
Surveillance early edition. Here's what you need to know. St. Louis Fed President James Bullard says the central bank shouldn't rule out rate increases of 75 basis points to fight inflation. In a presentation to the Council on Foreign Relations, Bullard said the Fed needs to move quickly.
Getting to 350 by the end of the year could move markets a little bit. The S&P 500 futures are now down about 1/3% to 43.73. 10-year yield also moving up a little bit right now at 289.74. The billionaire CEO of FTX on how to build a crypto fortune and then give it all away.
And from one 30-year-old crypto
the world, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, the billionaire CEO of FTX, on how to build.
And on one side, you've got legions of fans and deep-pocketed crypto backers like Coinbase Ventures, Galaxy Digital of Mike Novogratz, and Pantera Capital. And these so-called lunatics, a nod to the Luna token. Remember, Mike Novogratz himself has that Luna tattoo. They're working towards the ultimate goal of creating a digital cash that can bypass banks, payment processors, and all of their fees and regulations. But let's look at the other side, because there are critics who say that Do Kwon is doomed to fail, and some launch accusations of a Ponzi scheme. Others are warning, and without much evidence as of this point, that the risks can bring down the entire world of digital assets.
That it could bring down the whole world. That's a big deal, right? Because this is not just saying that the risks could bring down Terra or Luna, but it could bring down all digital assets. And that's the worry, I think, in general around stablecoins.
Right, that it's more of a systemic risk than anything else. But I think it speaks really to the polarization in this market as a whole, where you have some people so for it, so bullish, and on the complete other end of the spectrum, some people who don't believe in it at all. What I love about this story is just the color that it shows as well. In addition to the tattoos like Mike Novogratz had, Kwon has a newborn daughter. She's named Luna. How apt.
Yeah, it's interesting the lengths to which these people go to show their dedication. Joining us now is Sam Bankman-Fried, founder and CEO of FTX. Sam was profiled in a recent Big Take on how he plans to give away his fortune. And it was a fascinating story. Sam, I have to first ask, are you playing a video game right now?
Not going to comment on that one. You can take a guess.
All right. Well, that's cool. I'm actually configuring a truck as we speak. But I wanted to hear your views on this Luna debate, because I think it's so fascinating that there's a community that wants to bring crypto almost back to its roots, right? You want to have an uncensored, untouchable by government currency, so that one person can't just turn off another person's money for whatever arbitrary reason. Are you in the camp that's for it or against it?
So,
Sam Bankman-Fried, founder and CEO of FTX. Sam was profiled in a recent Big Take that allows them to keep providing more supply, but that's a conversation for another time. Sam Bankman-Fried, thank you so much for joining us. Jamie Leverton of HUD 8 Mining.
Real-time margining, real-time risk, and real-time settlement.
Sam Bankman-Fried, billionaire CEO of FTX, speaking with us on Bloomberg Crypto yesterday, talking tokenized treasuries, but also he'd really like to talk to Elon Musk about decentralizing Twitter. Let's talk more about
for a last-minute ad blitz to support Ohio Representative Shontel Brown in her tight re-election.
By any one party. That has transparency as well.
FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried there speaking last week in the Bahamas on how to fix messaging for crypto newcomers. Now, the creator of popular Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs launched a sale of virtual land over the weekend that crashed the Ethereum blockchain. How do you factor in the kind of risk like this, Bored Apes?
Well, I think, Kayla, you just nailed the key thing from Ethereum, from my standpoint. When you hear about high fees and NFTs, and now it's a problem, they crash the network. But bottom line, they're all denominated in Ethereum. So it means demand for Ethereum and also Solana. So that's a key thing that also happened last week. And there's also an issue with Solana, too, because it's a main platform for NFTs. So from my standpoint is, there's a lot of issues out there with NFTs. Digital property rights is one way to look at them. It's a lot for me to try to understand, but I try to narrow down to what I do understand. Demand for Ethereum and Solana, which means how I have to do is analyze supply to determine it probably means prices should go up over time. But I think
To Sam Bankman-Fried, who have lost 70, 80, 90% of their wealth in the last few weeks. Is it a concern for the industry at large?
I don't think it's a Lehman moment. Obviously not the prettiest of episodes, but we get one to two of those per year. You remember last year we had the China ban. The previous year, due to COVID, we had up to 50% declines. This time, I think what is different is that you have a limited number of sellers. What I'm seeing on the Nexo platform, and we have close to 4 million retail users and a very sizable institutional clientele. I don't see them selling anyway the way they did in 2020 or 2021. I think the pressure that Bitcoin is seeing right now, it is the unwinding of the huge BTC reserves that the Terra Foundation had accumulated.
What about the regulatory threat stemming from this episode?
Yeah, this is, to me, potentially the more midterm important thing than the short-term turmoil that we're seeing right now. Obviously, crypto and Bitcoin's opponents are going to make a case out of this that, one company failing or something like this is, an example of the industry as such. That's why I've always advocated that, the good actors within the industry, we should go the extra mile, whether it's in KYC and AML considerations or just talking to the regulators and explain.
Sam Bankman-Fried, who have lost 70, 80, 90% of their wealth in the last few weeks.
Sam Bankman-Fried here, the CEO of that company, taking a 7.6%. Director and majority owner of that company, again, buying about 56,000 shares of Robinhood.
Fried has acquired a 7.6% stock or position in Robinhood. Now, he acquired this position for approximately an average of $11.52.
In early hours after the billionaire founder and CEO of the FTX crypto exchange, Sam Bankman-Fried, disclosed a 7.6% stake in the online brokerage. Now, that is the equivalent of about 56.3 million shares. He paid a little more than $648 million for that stake, but actually, as of yesterday's close, it was only worth about $482 million because Robinhood has continued to see declines. But obviously, with the gain we're seeing today, a lot of that loss could be made up. Why is this important for Robinhood? Because crypto is increasingly important for Robinhood.
What you're seeing is a greater chance that we are heading to a softish or a hardish landing, whatever Powell wants to describe it as. And I think it's higher on the continent. I think, they're a lot more reliant on Russian energy supply than we are in the UK or clearly in the US. And actually inflation rates in the Eurozone, broadly speaking, are running at a higher level. But again, you've got this interesting stance that the ECB is, behind the curve, even compared to the Bank of England or the Fed. And so
time ago, not quite some time ago, actually just a few months ago, that there was a problem. And supposedly they started buying all this Bitcoin that was supposed to go, at least, to shore up the reserves of UST. Mm-hmm. In fact, we actually don't know if it was used yet to shore up those reserves. There's still some questions about that. Nonetheless, there was this massive cult around UST, around Luna, and people were on Twitter, bots were on Twitter, pushing constantly this Luna coin, and it shot through the moon until it collapsed.
Okay, so that collapsed. Bitcoin's still around, still below 30,000, but it's still around. If there were any other day, but after this UST Luna collapse, I would say we were burying the lead. But FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried says that Bitcoin has no future as a payments network. That's a pretty big headline there. Do you agree? And if it doesn't have future as a
my check. This can range from a stake taking to a total acquisition. This is where you get your FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried randomly taking a 7.6% stake in Robinhood, a platform that has 20 times the users of his and has been beaten down near book value. This is where you get your Elon Musk buying Twitter, which he looks to be trying to negotiate down at the moment. Who knows where that's going? But anyways, this is where you start getting these acquisitions. Some smaller, less well-covered examples are Rite Aid, which just got a buyout offer a couple weeks back. Ubisoft, which is rumored to be seeing potential buyout offers. DraftKings and Golden Nugget, although this started during somewhat hotter times. Another smaller recent acquisition that comes to mind is Chicken Soup for the Soul and Redbox. Right now, I believe we're at the beginning of an explosion of acquisition talk. And history shows that acquisition talk happens until financial conditions get so tight that even the billionaires and wealthy companies are like, you know what, maybe we don't want to buy anything else. Looking to get up to 5 free stocks with Moomoo and try out an excellent trading app, make sure to hit the link to Moomoo down below. Terms and conditions apply.
So they're bringing stocks already, much sooner than I suspected personally. But this is Sam Bankman-Fried at work. I mean, absolutely incredible. It's a great company, and if you haven't checked them out yet, do so. Download the FTX app as well. You could do so using the link down below. If you do download the app, throw in Meet Kev and every.
After FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried bought a minority stake in Robinhood last week.
Be the winner in this space. I mean, you have others like FTX and Binance. You have Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, saying that their revenue has not declined. They're pushing into new areas. I know we haven't seen the
Lots of different public people. Now, this is also a well-backed platform. Their founder here, for example, Sam Bankman-Fried, is worth over $10 billion, and he's 30 years old. So I think he's doing okay for himself. Now, most people know FTX is a crypto exchange, and I don't own any crypto. I don't own any Bitcoin or Dogecoin or any of that. And I don't really plan on buying any of it in the future. But what a lot of people aren't aware of is that FTX is actually rapidly expanding into stocks. And this is where I'm interested in. Right here, they have a new tab on their website called Stocks. Now, it's currently in beta. I was able to get access, and they plan on rolling this out to more people in the future. So if you sign up for FTX US right now, you'll be able to eventually get access to their stock trading. And you can see what it looks like right now. I own a little bit of Amazon, just 3 shares, which is $362 worth. But so far, it's been pretty easy and simple to use. You can buy and sell stocks anytime the market's open. There's no fees for trades. They're not doing payment for order flow. And eventually, they're going to have options as part of this. And when I get to 100 shares of Amazon, I plan on trying to learn how to do covered call options, which is like
keep it up to date.
Kavita, I just have a quick question about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. We saw him reach out with a credit line for Voyager, I think almost $500 million. He's buying Embed now. He's giving a credit line to Blockfi. Is he the white knight of the crypto winter? I mean, he seems to be helping a number of different entities stay afloat or taking them over.
I think this is the best time for M&A. I think what they are doing is great. First of all, they are not US registered. They are not public comparatively to Coinbase. So they have much more, power on where all they can go and how they can expand. So I think this gives them a lot of freedom and from regulations, from the money the sectors they are going into. And I feel like this is perfect for an exchange because they have the maximum liquidity, right? And they can actually provide those things to Blockfi and Voyager and have a very, very preferential partnerships and equity deals out there. And we're going to see FTX playing much bigger role in it. I think there are few companies who plan to have a lot of liquidity and go into cheaper deals when the market is down. And I feel like FTX is one of them.
On the drawdown with details of the new short Bitcoin ETF that launches today.
And access all the latest data and news on crypto on your Bloomberg terminal. Type CRYP Go.
Well, but they are rebounding in tandem today. Bloomberg's Sonali Bostic joins us now with the details. Sonali.
Yeah, it's interesting, Kaylee. You have about a 5% jump in Bitcoin prices over 24 hours and a nearly 8% jump in NFT index. So let's look at the overall market data that overpins that over a longer time horizon. Over 30 days, the volumes on OpenSea have dropped by almost 200% to 783 million.
So we have a decent shot of preventing bank runs in the event of another crash. We can't just rely on Sam Bankman-Fried, the JP Morgan of crypto, for heaven's sake. Next, we need to see the advanced decline continue to get better. This is an all-important gauge that measures the overall breadth of the market, how many stocks are going up versus down. When you see it going steadily higher, that's a solid precursor to a run.
743 CNBC.
free crypto on every trade over $10. And FTX is in the news recently because Sam Bankman-Fried, the one that leads FTX, basically this came out a couple days ago. They're injecting $250 million into Blockfi and partnering with them to navigate the market. Obviously, I think Sam's like trying to be a hero in this situation. It's interesting. In the last financial crisis, Buffett came to the rescue of some of the big banks and helped out with some different situations. It seems like Sam's trying to help as much as possible with everything that's going on in the crypto space right now. And FTX US also announced they got into stocks recently as well. So like Tesla, just like usually a little more violently, let's call it that. And then it's kind of NVIDIA, AMD, and stocks like that. So
BlockFi after lending the company $250 million. FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried and his businesses have lent hundreds of millions of dollars to firms struggling through this crypto meltdown. Next, hackers just made off with $100 million using a crypto startup's blockchain bridge. On Wednesday, Harmony notified customers of the attack on its Horizon bridge and said that it had tracked the stolen funds to a single wallet. The company also said that it was working with authorities to retrieve these stolen funds. Bridges allow users to transfer assets from one blockchain to another and have become a prime target for hackers.
Trading in October, I believe. How has that been going?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and just for everyone's benefit and all the viewers out there. Public is an investing platform focused on helping retail investors be better investors and build their modern portfolio on markets and what retail investors have access to. So, like you said, back in October, we launched access to buy, sell, hold sort of spot crypto markets on the platform, in addition to sort of our existing sort of U.S. equities business. The crypto space at attractive prices. The other trend that we've seen is definitely a shift towards sort of the larger cap crypto assets, right? We've gone through
Bankman-Fried, FTX seeking path to buy Robinhood. Now, this is pretty darn intriguing. I want to share something with you here in just a moment, okay? FTX is discussing internal. Last month, Bankman-Fried had revealed a 7.6% stake in Robinhood, but said he did not have any intention of taking control of the retail trading platform.
The report that they're discussing internally about buying.
Bankman-Fried's FTX seeking a pathway to buy the company, and joining us to discuss, Dan Dolev from Mizuho. Dan, Robinhood's up more than 17%. Business
Why
at
is it a
70,
great
now
business?
it's at 9.
Well, no. So Sam Bankman-Fried is very smart. The book value here is $7 billion. They have cash on the books of like $6 billion.
Robinhood. Of course, we had news before the end of trading yesterday, a Bloomberg scoop that FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, the big crypto exchange billionaire, is looking at potentially a deal for Robinhood. The stock was up 14% yesterday.
Comment about no active discussions is being portrayed by some as a, quote,
of FTX and Vlad Tenev at a recent conference. And they are the most innovative companies. Certainly, I've covered the e-brokerage space for some time, Robinhood being the most disruptive. They brought in
Fried throwing cold water on this report that his company might be interested in buying Robinhood. In a statement to CNBC, he says, quote,
It makes no sense because you could buy it and integrate it and have all those customers, and they're all the right customers.
Well, I was going to say, directionally, do you think a buyer should be the likes of a Bankman-Fried or Legacy Financial, for example?
Well, I think Legacy Financial has to get more involved with younger people.
No, they're not. Bankman-Fried, whatever. Binance, separately, another company.
And this coincides with exactly that story you're talking about.
Right now in the crypto space is Sam Bankman-Fried. He is the CEO and founder of FTX, and they have been on an absolute buying spree. It's a reminder that the wealthy, first, they hold cash, and so in a downturn, they're able to position themselves to be buyers, right? And here we are, blood in the street. Sam Bankman-Fried has been bailing out Voyager and Blockfi in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And in the last couple of days, news stories have hit that he's trying to get into talks to buy Robinhood. He's clearly trying to position himself and outpace Coinbase as the number one crypto exchange in America, right? So there are definitely people buying right now. And then we have Grayscale's spot ETF, which on July 6th is going to be either approved or disapproved by the SEC.
This is a highly speculative asset class. We've known this for a long time. The ups and downs of this speculative asset class, Bitcoin, and hundreds of other tokens. And many of these tokens right now are trying to operate. They're potentially non-compliant. We're trying to make the markets a little better, hopefully a lot better for the retail investing public, and to really move forward in the face of new technology like crypto, so that the investing public always getting to decide what risks they want to take, but has that full and fair disclosure, and we protect against fraud, manipulation, the hucksters that come along, because human nature is human nature.
So what he's tasked to do is obviously protect the American people. And what he is saying will protect the American people is that those who are offering asset classes, to invest in are fully vetted. They are, there's full disclosure. You know who they are. You know how they're set up, how they're positioned. I guarantee you when it comes to the stable coins, there's going to be a requirement for them to prove the amount of money that they have backing their stable coins. And some of these creative pyramid schemes that have been out there in the last year with DeFi are going to be required to have greater transparency so that everybody can see what the full risk is and the path to get out of it in the event that there is some form of a collapse.
It has really been seen as a lender of last resort in this space and looking to do some M&A as well. In addition to BlockFi, Bankman-Fried's company Alameda Research provided a $500
How deep are Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX's pockets, and why have they emerged as the one with all the dry powder?
Bankman-Fried has also been seen as a lifeline for a lot of crypto companies who don't have the Fed. They don't have any other lender of last
redemptions. They could do that. It's happened before. BlockFi got an emergency bailout loan from Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, and Terra Luna is at zero. That's what CNBC is now calling the founder of FTX. Yup, the lender of last resort, just like JPOW. But even Sam Bankman-Fried doesn't have a money printer like JPOW. So that means his support is more limited than what JPOW can do. Sam Bankman-Fried might be able to help prop the crypto economy up around 19,000 Bitcoin as a strong support. But what happens when his support stops? What happens when true panic spreads because there's no Sam Bankman-Fried to make sure Voyager Digital can allow people to at least remove some of their money from the platform? TBD. Venture capital investment. I invested $420,690 into BlockFi, which is more than other people invested when they say they did things like starting a bank or buying a bank.
Willing to backstop the space and put up capital. So lots of smart money there. It's not crypto Yonkers. In fact, crypto Bahamas. I just got back from the Baha Mar Hotel. We'll be doing that April 17th.
Affected the crypto ecosystem, but these were all challenges of people mismanaging risk. And unfortunately, retail folks are going to get hurt.
So, Anthony, back over to you. You mentioned Sam Bankman-Fried. What do you make of the fact that he's the person, as you mentioned, that seems to be backstopping the entire cryptocurrency industry, and it doesn't seem to be anybody else racing out to buy BlockFi? He seems to be the one that has the interest and believes that it is a valuable asset.
Well, first of all, a big shout out to the BlockFi people who focused on depositors first. They took a deal from Sam. It may not have protected the equity there, but it's certainly protecting the depositors. I think in Sam's case, he's looking for customer acquisition, and I think he sees this as a broad opportunity to get those customers through BlockFi. And BlockFi, by and large, other than the fact that they were over-leveraged, they ran a pretty decent company. Remember, somebody mentioned Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns had the liquidity. They just had a liquidity mismatch in the short term. Same with Lehman Brothers. And so somebody like Sam stepping in here, I think, is providing the context for a bottom. And just a quick correction, when I said Celsius, I meant 3 arrows as it related to the potential fraud.
I don't know.
So what do you think? I mean, in the crypto world, we've basically got this unofficial Fed called Sam Bankman-Fried, who co-founded.
Where did he come from?
Yeah. It came from a lot of venture capital fundraising over at FTX, and they are plowing money, or he is, into bailing out other companies like Blockfi and Voyager, these companies that went crazy lending money to try to make a spread by lending it to somebody for, borrowing it for 8% and lending it for 17%, and then obviously stuff's collapsing. How much further does this collapse, and at what point do you think we have a further risk to maybe some of the dollar-backed stablecoins?
Yeah, there's people shorting these dollar-backed, stable coins. I think the term stable coin is an oxymoron and should not be used. They are not stable coins. They are high-risk coins that have the perception of stability. Okay, so let's not be confused, boys and girls. Okay, if a crypto guy calls it stable, it's not stable. Okay, so I think I've been doing crypto for a long time, and I think the idea that you're going to give some South Korean 30-year-old $14 billion to run a stable coin, and he lives in a little apartment, and he's never done anything in finance, and he just made up Luna and all this crap, and you think some guy can manage $14 billion correctly for people. That is the biggest joke I've ever heard. Now, I manage $2 billion, and I have 48 employees, and I've been doing it for 29 years, and there isn't a day that it isn't fucking challenging as hell, including yesterday. I had all these problems with my fault. Just trading issues, just fucking trading for thousands of people, and then mistakes get made somewhere. And we make people whole if there's a mistake. But it is freaking so hard running a financial institution correctly and honestly. It's the biggest challenge of my life. I can't tell you how hard it is. And yesterday I was like, if I have another meeting with a lawyer, I'm going to fucking freak out. Excuse my language. But that's where you spend half your time, just dealing with risk and this and that, because we do things right. But when you think about the crypto industry, that's brand new, 12 years old or whatever, 15 years old, and a bunch of people with no financial backgrounds, all of a sudden with billions of dollars they're responsible for, and you're at all surprised that they screw this up and lose your money or have it stolen. Come on!
Standing amid the crypto crunch. So what else could Bankman-Fried have up his sleeve? Joining us now is Chris McCann of Race Capital, who was an early investor in...
On this early edition, you're looking at a live shot of the principal room. Coming up later today, Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX founder and CEO. This is Bloomberg.
Or KuCoin or Gemini. Right. But these are the things I want you to be aware of. Sam Bankman-Fried of the platform FTX said that there were over 600 third-tier or third-party, second-tier exchanges that were already insolvent. I'll make it clear, insolvent means they don't have no cash.
They don't have cash. They don't have the backing.
Yep. And then in the same week, the Binance CEO came out and said that over 50 exchanges had contacted him, basically begging for money to keep themselves from going under, going into bankruptcy.
Because they saw him doing it for other ones.
Yeah. So Voyager got a big chunk of change, even a bigger chunk of change than Blockfi. Yeah. But here's what's happened. You know, people have been concerned about what they've been hearing about Voyager and Blockfi, and there was a little bit of a run on the bank. I'm going to tell you guys that you should strongly consider pulling your money out of Blockfi. They're in the exact same boat that Voyager was in.
Right.
But here's the thing I want to tell you that I think should calm some of you. Do I know exactly what's going to happen? Absolutely not.
Anything he says is not a suggestion to buy, hold, sell, transfer, or hold. We have to say that legally.
But I want to encourage you with the idea, if you've got your money on Voyager and it's frozen, I am leaning towards believing that Voyager and FTX are not going to basically allow you to lose those funds. I believe it's more in their interest to give those back. In addition, with Sam Bankman-Fried, multiple crypto exchanges are secretly insolvent, warns Sam Bankman-Fried. Let's be clear about what insolvent means. It means they don't have any money. They don't have your money that you invested in them. they lost it. Shared his thoughts on the state of the crypto market, its trajectory, and the platforms, these exchanges and these leverage groups, these hedge funds, groups that are working with crypto, they're unregulated, right?
Bankman-Fried in an exclusive interview ahead of the deal's announcement.
There are synergies between the businesses. I think, if you look at what Blockfi has built out, I think they have a loyal customer base. I think, they have a real business model. They have a card program that people love. They have a strong, they have strong leadership. And I think that we have been focusing on a lot of the back end infrastructure, right? On, everything from the exchange, the matching engine, risk engine, and everything else. And those match up somewhat nicely. And so I think that there are a lot of ways that our products can work together and can mesh together in a way that's sort of better than, either would be independently. And I will also say that, they've been working really productively with regulators on, building out regulated yield products and licensed yield products, which we're excited about and excited that they've been doing it in a regulated way. I think that's a healthy way to do it, and I think that's going to serve them well, long term. And it's something that, we're excited to work with as well.
You had told Politico that FTX is looking for opportunities to bail out, places where customers would otherwise be underwater. But are you worried here about moral hazard at all? That bailing out a company may not actually be what's best for the industry at large?
It's a good question. And, and I'm guessing what you're getting at there is like, does that bail out a company that really should have failed and teach her the wrong lesson to that company?